Good morning. On the weekend, for the first time ever, I travelled specifically for a race. I flew down to Noosa with the aim to try and crack a half marathon PB. Let's see how it went. Get here to find out the flight's delayed by an hour. Not a good start. And it's times like these where I get reminded that I'm one of those people that stuff just doesn't work out for. Motorbike's going past. The flight was like an hour and a half delayed, so that meant the shuttle that I'd booked was gone and there was no shuttle, so I eventually got an Uber. I found the backpackers, so now it's pitch black and I'm walking to find somewhere to eat, somewhere to get some food, and then hopefully go to bed soon. I missed packet pickup, I missed all of that, so I'll have to sort that out in the morning. But that's okay. I'm gonna roll with it. And we're just gonna hope for the best in the morning and hope that's the end of all of my terrible luck for the weekend. And hopefully it's smooth sailing from here on in. Fingers crossed. Let's see how that goes. Supermarket trip done. I've managed to get some sort of food for dinner. It's about to go pitch black here, so sorry. Yeah, some sort of food for dinner, and got some water, got some Gatorade for tomorrow morning. I think I'm pretty set now. Just gonna wander back to the backpackers, climb into bed, watch a movie, and just try and get myself to sleep. It's really funny. I've been looking forward to this weekend and, you know, getting away and doing a weekend of running and all that sort of stuff for so long. Now that I'm on my own doing this thing, I'm finding myself getting really anxious and really wound up about just the tiniest things. I just need to chill. I think that's the big thing. I just need to chill out. It's going to be okay. Need to drink lots of water, chill out for the night, and enjoy tomorrow. Good morning. It's Saturday morning. It's race morning, and as you would have predicted, my run of luck has continued. Now walking into the bus stop. I'm almost there. Had water and Gatorade in the fridge at where I'm staying. Thinking, oh yeah, I'll go in and grab it. 5:15, the kitchen opens, doesn't it? Ah, man. Managed to find a vending machine. Got myself a chocolate bar and a bottle of water. Breakfast of champions. And now I'm just wandering down here to wait for a bus that will be coming in like 20 minutes. Okay. Great. It's going to be a good day. Did I mention that it's cold? Freezing cold. So the registration's done. Was hoping to get something to eat, but the 7-Eleven that's nearby is closed, so I'm just gonna have to wait for the coffee shop to open. And yeah, we'll go from there. I got a feeling it's gonna be one of those days. Oh well. I'll go and stand around the event precinct and see if I can get a coffee. I like that start. It's the first controlled start I've ever had in a race. That's awesome. But it does feel slow. 6k down. First gel appears to be done somewhat successfully. Sitting on 423s at the moment and heart rate at about 150, so feeling pretty good. Pretty impressed by the number of people here. Yeah, coming from local races to a big one like this, it's very impressive. Here we go. Big challenge.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Good job! Electrolyte!
Nailed it. Although you do have to be more careful to get water in your mouth here. It's so cold. Halfway. Sitting on 422s, still heart rate up around 156, 157. So starting to creep up. But yeah, let's just see how we go. Starting to feel a little bit, but we're only halfway. Park run to go now. 5k's to go. Nice and easy. Okay, so eating gels is super sticky and super gross. Alright, what are we? 17 and a bit in. It's all over my finger. Time to race now. Time to have a go. Just past the 18k mark. About 3 to go. Feeling good. Let's give it everything. Let's go. Can I do it twice in a row? That's the question. Thank you.
Okay, that was good. That was like electrolyte here, let's go!
Yodi!
Freaking nailed it. We're under 2k's to go. I'm starting to feel it. Just got to hold on. Sit on 4:13 pace. Just got to hold on. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. I think that's the last bridge. I think. Alright. Downhill now. 1.5 to go. If I can run a 4-minute last K, I can go sub 90. I've got to go for it. I've got to go. I might blow up. That's alright. I'm going to try. Come on, last two 300. Back up. Well, that's a wrap. A new PB and a perfectly executed race from my perspective. So I could not be happier. Let's take a moment to dive in and just talk a little bit about the race, blow by blow. Before the race on the Thursday night, I had a chat with my coach Joel and we discussed my goals. Before going into this, I was really hoping to have a crack at the sub 90. I knew I was in PB shape, but I didn't know how good I was going. My previous PB was 136, so I knew to go to sub 90 was going to be a huge jump, and I didn't quite know if I was there. So after the chat with Joel, we figured out, okay, if I go out at 420 to 425 pace, which if I can hold 420s, that would have been a massive PB, a 4-minute something PB. So I was happy with that. I was comfortable with that. And I thought, no, listen to the coach. Over the next few months, I've got to buy into what he's saying and believe in what we're doing together. So thought, okay, I'll go with it and I'll be happy with the result at the end. When I finally got to the start line, I was surprised by two things. One, the huge number of people. There were people everywhere. Coming from regional races like we have here in Cairns, I'm just not used to that number of people racing. So that was a bit of a shock. But also, I was surprised by the cold. I knew it was going to be cold. I knew what the temperature was going to be. I had jumpers, I had things. I just didn't realise how acclimatised I've become to Cairns weather and how much of an effect that cold weather had on me at that start line. I was really struggling. I went to do the warm-up. I think I only ended up doing a 900-metre warm-up because I just couldn't get my legs ticking over. I just did not want to run. The race start was really, really interesting. Rather than, well, normally they have your big funnels and you end up going into the start line. But in this one, they funneled us right into almost a single file gateway where you ran across the line pretty much by yourself. I don't know why they did that. For me, it worked really well. It slowed me down off the start. I wasn't chasing everybody and going off like a cut snake. I actually did really, really well off the start and I was really controlled. So I was happy with it. Don't know if I like it though. So the plan was to run at that easy-ish 420 to 425 pace for the first 17k and then build from there. So once I hit 17k, it was to build and go through the gears after that. We'd also discussed finding someone who was running at about the same pace and trying to stick with them and just trying to make it easier for myself by sticking with a group. Unfortunately, no one was running the paces that I wanted to race. So I'd end up sitting with someone and either dropping pace and going too slow or going too fast. And it wasn't worth it in the end. So in the end, I just went, no, I'm going to lock into my pace and I'm going to stick with that. The course was 2 laps of a long 10k loop, 5k out, 5k back, fairly flat, straight road along the river there at Noosa. Few turns here and there, but not much. And a couple of bridges thrown in for just a little bit of variation. The first 10k honestly went by in a bit of a blur. It was over and done with before I even knew. I don't remember thinking or feeling anything through that other than hold yourself back, slow down, slow down. You don't need to run faster than 420, slow down, slow down. So that was really, really good to have that conversation on the Thursday and have that clear plan in my head. But also to be feeling it in the race, hang on, you've actively got to slow yourself down here. So that was really cool. As I entered the second loop, I caught up with a group that I thought was running my pace. I noticed some soreness in my hips and calves as I went around in that onto and started that second lap, but nothing major, nothing that was slowing me down. So I was feeling pretty good. So I settled in with that group for about 4.5k.
and they were a good group to run with. I started to notice in the second lap just how strong I was feeling, because every one of those bridges that we went over, everyone who was running around me, I was dropping them. I was hitting a new group every time I got to the top of one of those bridges, because I just took them in my stride without even really noticing them, but everybody else was dropping back a lot. It was about the 15-ish K mark that I dropped my group that I was running with, and again, same deal on a bridge. I went up the bridge, they didn't come with me, so I just kept going at my pace. Hit the turn for home, went it alone. I lapped my watch and realized I was going too fast too early. We'd planned to go 420s until 17K, and I was going, I think, around the 415, 416 mark at this stage. So I went, nah, all right, drop it back. 2 more K, hold yourself back for 2 more K. So dropped myself back, kept that pace nice and light, nice and easy, and really comfortable until that 17K mark. By the time kilometer 17 came along, I was more than ready to go for it. I hit the lap button on the watch, dropped a couple of 410s, and I was ready to take it home. It wasn't until the 19K mark that I remember actually feeling like, oh, hang on, I'm working hard here.
I'm starting to feel it.
To me, that's a really good sign of a very conservatively paced race. Got to the 20K mark and I did some terrible maths.
If I can run a 4-minute last K, I can go sub 90.
That next K I did in 3:52. I absolutely nailed it coming home. My maths was terrible, but the running was good. I crossed the line in 1 hour, 30 minutes and 54 seconds. I know that's not a sub 90, and I know I had that in my head before I went in there, but that's over a 5-minute PB, and that's huge. I'm stoked with that. I am absolutely over the moon. I knew I was in PB shape. I knew I was running better than I have before. This just confirms how much better I'm running than I have previously. So I collected my medal after the race, and I am incredibly proud, to the point where I'm a bit disappointed I didn't order the little sticky thing that goes on the back with your time. I feel like I absolutely nailed this race, and I'm really, really happy with my achievement. Something felt different. I felt like I was in control. I felt like I was charging, and I felt unstoppable in this race. After the race, I spent the rest of the day in Noosa, swimming at the beach, hanging out at local restaurants, drinking coffee. I was alone, but I celebrated my achievement the way I wanted to, with coffee and planning my next challenge. That next challenge is Sydney Marathon. That's where the focus shifts now. The marathon scares the hell out of me because I know what I'm like 2 hours into an event. I've done a half Ironman before, and I know how easily I take the soft option and check out. So it's going to be tough, and it's going to take focus, and it's going to take hard work over the next few months. But I'm lucky. I've got an awesome coach who's going to get me over the line, who's not afraid to tell me what I need to hear, to tell me to stop being soft, to tell me to stop being an idiot. Don't do stupid things. Stay tuned for more. Last but not least, massive shout out to Keddell, who paid for me to go in the race. They do a really, really good pain relief balm that works wonders. You know, you rub it in, pain's gone. It's great for when you're training, got stiff legs, all that sort of stuff. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I had a couple of people grab me during the race and talk about my videos, so that was really exciting. Every time people stop me and talk about that, I get awkward about it because I'm not used to it, but I'm also really chuffed. It's really exciting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Moving on to a Sydney Marathon build next. Let's do this.